another sinister broadcast with your spooky host with the most, Raz. Hello everyone, and welcome to another sinister broadcast with your host, Raz. Before we begin, I'd like to tell you all that I have created a whole bunch of brand new weird content for you guys to eat up and enjoy. Tonight will consist of 4 commercials and 4 stories. We have shortened the length of things quite significantly so that we can hopefully provide you with a good solid hour of content for these broadcasts. Anyways, on one other note, if you are a story writer and you wish to submit your writings to be read on the channel, by all means get in contact with me through Instagram, YouTube, or any other means. And like always, let's sit back, relax, and get ready for a sinister broadcast. Can't sleep, friend? Tossing and turning? Troubled by memories of the Great War? Haunted by visions of unknowable cosmic horror that leaks just beyond the veil of human perception? Then you need Morpheus brand sleep sand. Simply sprinkle a handful of our patented sleep sand under your pillow and drift off into a slumber so deep, so profound, that some customers have reported sleeping for days, while Mr. Harold Finch of Baltimore slept for 6 weeks straight. His wife says she's never been happier. Morpheus brand sleep sand is mined from genuine dream deposits found in caves beneath Providence, Rhode Island. Each grain is blessed by a certified sleep priest and infused with essence of midnight. What's in Morpheus brand sleep sand? We're not entirely sure. The formula came to our founder in a dream, and when he woke up, there it was, written in a language that predates human civilization. But our lawyers say it's probably safe. Morpheus brand sleep sand. You'll sleep like the dead. Perhaps literally. Do not use if you are allergic to sand, sleep, or eldritch around the trees. May cause sleepwalking, sleep dancing, or sleep sliding in ancient packs. If you sleep for more than 3 weeks straight, consult your physician or local priest. Listen here, mister. You call that a chest? Why, I seen plucked chickens with more hair. But don't you worry, there's hope for you yet. Introducing Gritmore's Manly Chest Hair Tonic. Just rub this patented formula on your torso twice daily, and within weeks you'll sprout growth so thick, so virile, that the ladies will swoon and the other men will weep with envy. Why, just after one application, hair will begin growing in places you didn't even know you had. Our secret ingredient? Pure testosterone extracted from genuine grizzly bears. That's right, we wrestled the bears ourselves, and brother, let me tell you, they don't give up easily. Mr. Chester Woolworth of Minneapolis writes, Dear Gretmores, I used your tonic and now I can't wear shirts anymore. The hair just burst right through. I've been promoted 3 times. Gritmore's Manly Chest Hair Tonic. If you're not shedding by next Tuesday, you're not man enough for this product. Warning, may cause hair growth on palms, soles, feet, tongue, and eyeballs. If you will transform into a wolfman, discontinue use and consult your barber. Not responsible for attacks by hunters. Gentlemen, does your brain feel sluggish? Thoughts moving slower than molasses? Can't remember where you put your keys, your wife, or where you live? Fear not. Modern science has the answer. Dr. Quimbly's electric hat. Yes! This revolutionary headwear combines the latest in electrical theory with haberdashery. Simply place Dr. Quimbly's electric hat on your head and turn the crank 17 times and feel 10,000 volts of pure thought power surge directly into your skin. The results are immediate and astounding. Mr. William Bradshaw of Newark writes, Dear Dr. Quimbly, after using your electric hat, I can now taste colors and see through time. Unfortunately, I can no longer remember my own name, but I know the names of people who won't be born for 300 years. Dr. Quimbly's electric hat uses genuine copper wiring, rubber insulation, and a patented brain stimulator coil that may or may not summon minor demons. We are conducting tests. Available in fedora, derby, and top hat styles. Comes with complimentary rubber gloves and a fire extinguisher. Dr. Quimbly's electric hat. The hat that thinks for you. Warning, side effects may include temporary blindness, permanent blindness, hair standing on end, involuntary levitation, speaking in tongues, and the ability to communicate with household appliances. You begin receiving radio transmissions through your buildings. Reduced voltage. Dr. Quimbly is not a real doctor and may not actually exist. Housewives, tired of boring, silent toilet paper? Well, prepare for the bathroom revolution of the century. Thompson's Talking Toilet Paper. Well, that's right. Each sheet contains a tiny phonograph mechanism that plays encouraging messages as you use it. Hear phrases like, you're doing great, and that's the spirit, and boy, you really needed this. Our team of motivational experts have recorded over 50 different phrases of uplifting statements, guaranteed to make your private moments less private and more inspirational. But wait, there's more. Our deluxe model features celebrity voices. Yes, now you can have President Roosevelt himself encouraging your daily constitutional. Disclaimer, not actually President Roosevelt. It's our janitor, Frank, doing an impression. Thompson's Talking Toilet Paper, because everyone needs a little encouragement. Also available in singing toilet paper for the musically inclined. Warning, talking mechanism is not waterproof. Make short circuit. Thompson's is not responsible for electrical shocks, and sensitive areas do not use during thunderstorms. They adjusted the chair again. I can tell. It's angled toward the wall now. Not toward the door. Not toward the mirror. Toward the wall. Like they want my voice to hit it first. Like they want to see if it bounces back different. It does, you know. Sound changes in here. It folds. Presses in on itself. Words don't travel far. They just linger. Unless they're invited out. There it is. See? I wasn't even speaking clearly before. But now I am. And it's on. Posture straight. Breath measured. Tone controlled. I don't decide to do that. It happens automatically. Like muscle memory. Like stepping onto a stage. There is no stage. There is no audience. There's a room, a door, a slot for food, a drain in the floor. And yet, when I speak like this, it feels correct. Like this is the version of me that fits. Who fits where? I found something today. Under the mattress. Not contraband. Not sharp. Not dangerous. Just paper. Old paper. Edges worn. Ink slightly smudged. My handwriting. But confident. Not like the shaky notes I make now. Let the silence breathe. Control the descent. Don't rush the fear. Who was I instructing? Who was I training? Oh, that's clever. Is that what this is? Practice? Am I rehearsing something? Or remembering? Sometimes I start speaking evenly. I feel something click into place, like a mask sealing, like a name sliding over my face, and I almost... No, that's not mine. They said I have identity persistence. They said I cling to a constructed persona. They said I insist on being what? No, not yet. Did you see what it does? When I lean forward, it brightens. Like it recognizes me. Like it's waiting for a specific frequency. Good evening. Why does that feel so natural? Why does that feel rehearsed? I don't greet walls. I don't greet drains. I don't greet fluorescent lights. So who was that for? When I pause, I feel pressure. Like someone is leaning closer. Like silence isn't empty. Like it's full of expectation. Expectation requires witnesses. How many? One? More? Are you scattered? Different rooms, different states, different nights? No. That's delusional. That's expansion. That's ego distortion. That's what they write down when I speak like that. Subject exhibits broadcast fantasy. Blah, 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 blah. Fantasy. They think this is fantasy. Then why does my voice lock into place like this? Measured, intentional, inviting. That's not madness. That's craft. If this is delusion, why does it have structure? Why does it have rhythm? Why does it feel so practiced? What if I wasn't put in here because I was unstable? What if I was put in here because I wouldn't stop? Wouldn't stop speaking? Wouldn't stop telling? Wouldn't stop reaching past the walls? What if this room isn't containing me, but broadcasting me? If you're there, no direct address. That's escalation. That's how they increase the dosage. Control it. Control the descent. Don't rush the fear. I said that before, haven't I? It sounds like something someone would say before beginning. The red light is steady. The hum is constant. The room is listening. And something in me is ready. I don't know who I am in here. I don't know what they call me on the paperwork. But I know this feeling, this moment, right here. Beginning. Anyways, let's begin. Bone Wind. The mine was supposed to be empty. Abandoned silver shaft, collapsed in 3 places, sealed by the state 20 years back. We were there illegally, all adults, cutting through the old concrete plugs, because someone had detected movement underground that wasn't seismic. Airflow. Breathing airflow. That should have been the warning. The descent felt wrong immediately. The temperature dropped fast. Too fast. And the sound of our boots echoed longer than the tunnel should allow. Every noise came back stretched, distorted, like the mine was reshaping it before returning it to us. Then we found the bones. Not scattered. Packed. Femurs stacked like cordwood. Rib cages wired together to reinforce weak tunnel walls. Skulls mortared into place with dried blood and mineral runoff. Whoever, or whatever, did it had understood engineering. And hunger. We advanced anyway. That was the second mistake. The wind started an hour in. A low moaning draft pushing through the tunnel, carrying the smell of rotten wet iron. It wasn't constant. It came in breaths, slow and deep, rattling loose pebbles and making our headlamps flicker. That's when the lights caught it. High above us, clinging to a rock like a grotesque spider, was something tall and emaciated. Its limbs bent backward to fit the tunnel ceiling. Its skin was pale and cracked, veins dark and visible, stretched tight over a frame that looked starved beyond death. Antlers scraped the stone as it moved. The sound set my teeth on edge. We opened fire. The muzzle flashes lit the tunnel like lightning, revealing more of it. Scars carved into its body in spirals and tally marks, some deep enough to expose bone. Rounds punched into it, knocking chunks loose, but it didn't fall. It dropped, straight down into us. The impact crushed one of the team instantly, body folding with a wet crunch as the Wendigo landed and kept moving. It used the narrow tunnel perfectly, pinning, blocking, hurting us deeper. That's when it screamed. Not rage, communication. The mine answered. Far below, something moved. We ran. The tunnels tightened, forcing us in single file. The wind intensified, roaring now, sucking heat and breath from our lungs. Every exhale felt stolen. Frost formed on our eyelashes, on the inside of our masks. The creature followed at a walk. It didn't need to hurry. It knew the mine better than any of us ever could. When it struck again, it came from the wall itself, stone bursting outward as it forced its way through a side passage that should not have connected. It grabbed one of us by the leg and pulled. The sound echoed for a long time after the screaming stopped. I fell into a collapsed chamber, wide, cathedral-like, filled with old equipment and bones arranged in careful spirals. In the center stood a pit, deep and black, wind howling up from it like a throat. The creature emerged opposite me. Up close, its face was almost human, jaw elongated, mouth split too far, teeth jagged and constantly shifting. Its eyes were hollow, rimmed with frost, reflecting my headlamp like broken glass. It stepped closer. The wind howled louder. I realized then the truth. The mine wasn't abandoned. It was a nest. The creature reached out and paused. It sniffed. Not me. The pit. Something deeper stirred, answering the sound of the breath above. The creature hesitated, antlers scraping the stone, then backed away slowly. It tilted its head once, like a warning or a promise, and vanished into the tunnel. The wind stopped. So did the breathing. They pulled me out 2 days later. Only me. The mine was sealed again, this time with steel and concrete so thick it could stop a tank. Officially, it's a safety hazard. Unofficially, no one goes near it when the wind picks up. Because sometimes, far below the earth, something exhales and something listens. Meat locker in the pines. We weren't hunting it. We were hunting each other. Private land, no jurisdiction, no names, just adults with money, guns, and grudges. The lodge sat deep in the pines, concrete reinforced, freezers stocked with enough meat to last a siege. The kind of place where people go to disappear someone and call it sport. But that was before the snow came down like a wall. Communications died first, sat phones useless, generators humming but struggling. Frost crawling across the fuel lines like veins. The forest beyond the floodlights looked wrong. Trees too still, branches hanging low like they were tired of holding themselves up. Then one of the hunters screamed. One scream, sharp, short, ended mid-sound. We grabbed rifles and spread out, breath thick in the cold air. Someone joked about ambush tactics. Someone else chambered around a little too hard. That's when we found the blood. Not sprayed, drained. A body lay in the snow, skin pale and pulled tight, veins collapsed. No visible wounds, just a long, careful opening down the spine where something had reached inside and taken its time. The smell hit seconds later. Cold rock, iron, pine sap, and something else. Hunger. It didn't come at us head on. It learned the lodge first, killed the power room, jammed the doors from the outside, blocked vents with frozen meat and bone. We realized too late that the freezers weren't stocked for us. They were bait. We heard it moving through the trees, slow, heavy steps that didn't crunch snow so much as compress it. Floodlights flickered, then caught it, dead center. A silhouette that bent light wrong. It was massive, but not bulky. Drawn out, elongated, ribs visible beneath stretched white skin carved with ritual cuts. Antlers rose high and tangled, decorated with things that used to belong to people. Some snapped, some sharpened. Its head turned toward the lodge, and it smiled. We opened fire. The sound was deafening. Concrete chips flew. Snow exploded around it. Rounds punched through limbs and chest, and it kept walking. It liked the noise. It moved faster the more we shot, closing the distance with terrifying efficiency. When it reached the outer fence, it grabbed the steel mesh and pulled, metal screaming as it folded inward like soft clay. It came through the yard in seconds, close enough to smell, close enough to see its eyes weren't eyes at all, more like deep frost-filled sockets filled with something moving deliberately. Someone ran. The creature didn't chase. It waited until panic spread. and then it stepped into the chaos like it had planned it all along. Inside the lodge, it was worse. Hallways too narrow, corners too sharp. The sound of gunfire echoed until it all blurred together. It struck from ceilings, from stairwells, from places that shouldn't have held that much mass. It tore one man in half without breaking stride, pinned another to the wall with antlers, and leaned in close, as if listening to his heartbeat slow. The freezer burst open during the fight. Frozen meat slid across the floor. The creature stopped. For just a moment, it looked offended. Then it destroyed the freezers completely, shattering the doors, ripping shelving out, reducing months of stored flesh to ruin. Only then did it turn back to us. We understood. It didn't want stored meat. It wanted fresh. I survived because I stopped shooting, dropped my weapon, stood still, breath shallow, heart hammering loud enough I was sure it could hear. It approached slowly, towering over me, steam rolling off of its body. One clawed hand lifted, hovering inches from my chest. It leaned close and sniffed. Then it moved past me. Not mercy, disinterest. It left through the back wall, vanishing into the forest with a sound like ice breaking under its weight. They found the lodge days later. No survivors but me. No signs of the creature. Just frozen blood in patterns along the walls, and deep gouges in the concrete freezers, like something had tried to carve the word mine without knowing how to spell. I don't hunt anymore, but sometimes, when I open my freezer at home, I swear I feel something watching, waiting for me to remember what fresh really means. The Telltale Heart, from Edgar Allan Poe, modernized. You think I'm crazy? I'm not crazy. I know I'm nervous, extremely nervous. But that doesn't mean I'm mad. The illness sharpened my senses. I could hear everything. Sounds from heaven, from earth, even from hell. So how can you call me insane? Listen carefully. I'll tell you the whole story calmly. It started because of his eye. I loved the old man. He never wronged me, never insulted me. I didn't want his money, but he had this pale blue eye, like a vulture's eye, with a thin film over it. Whenever it looked at me, my blood ran cold. So I decided to kill him and rid myself of that eye forever. That doesn't sound crazy, does it? Madmen don't plan carefully, but I did. I was cautious. I was patient. Every night at midnight, I turned that latch of his door slowly, so slowly, and slipped my head inside. It took me an entire hour just to open the door wide enough to put my head through. Would a madman be that careful? Then I'd open my lantern just a crack, just enough for a thin beam of light to shine on the eye. But for 7 nights, the eye was closed, and I couldn't kill him without seeing it. It wasn't the old man I hated. It was that eye. Every morning I spoke kindly to him. I asked how he slept. He had no idea that every night I stood there watching him. On the 8th night, I was even more careful than usual. My hand slipped slightly on the lantern latch, and he woke up. "Who's there?" he called. I was completely still. For a whole hour I didn't move a muscle. He sat up in bed, listening. I knew that feeling. I felt it myself. That deep, terrifying fear in the darkness, when you know something is there, but you don't know what. Then I heard it. A soft groan. Not a groan of pain. A groan of pure fear. Slowly, very slowly, I opened the lantern. A thin beam of light fell directly on the eye. It was open, wide, pale, that horrible vulture eye. The sight of it filled me with rage, and then I heard something else. A sound, soft at first, a low, dull, quick sound, like a watch wrapped in cloth. His heart, it was beating, faster, louder. The old man must have been terrified. The heartbeat grew quicker, louder, louder. I feared the neighbors would hear it. That was the moment. With a scream, I threw open the lantern and rushed into the room. He cried out once, just once. I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. The heartbeat continued, muffled but still there. Then, gradually, it stopped. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the body. No pulse. He was gone. And I smiled. But I wasn't finished. I worked quickly. Before morning, I cut the body into pieces. Arms, legs, head. I pulled up the floorboards and I hid the pieces underneath. Then I replaced the floorboards perfectly. No stain, no trace, nothing to reveal what I'd done. At 4 a.m, there was a knock at the door. The police. A neighbor heard a scream. I welcomed them warmly. I told them the scream was mine, from a bad dream. I told them the old man was away in the country. I brought them into the house, showed them everything. Confident, calm. I even placed my chair directly over the spot where the body was hidden. The officers chatted, smiled, relaxed. But then, I heard it. A faint sound. Soft, rhythmic, a dull beating. At first I thought it was inside my head, but it grew louder and louder. It was a heartbeat. His heartbeat. Impossible. He was dead. Yet the sound continued. Thump, thump, thump. The officers kept talking, smiling. They didn't hear it. But I did. The sound grew unbearable. Louder. Surely they must have heard it. They were pretending not to notice. Mocking me. The beating grew louder, louder, louder. I could hardly breathe. I paced through the room. I argued loudly, but the sound only increased. It was pounding inside of my skull. I could no longer stand it. Villains, I screamed. Stop pretending. I confess. Tear up the floorboards. Here, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. The Telltale Silence. A sequel to The Telltale Heart. They locked me away. Naturally. Men in uniforms, gentle hands, whispered words like delusional and disturbed. They thought the shouting was madness. They thought the confession was guilt. Fools. They never heard it. The sound. They believed the heart I described was imagination, the frantic rhythm of a guilty mind. They told me so again and again in their white rooms with barred windows and soft restraints. But they did not stay awake at night. I did. First week of confinement was quiet. Blissfully quiet. No floorboards, no hidden remains, no accusing eye. Just silence. Beautiful, complete silence. I almost believed it was over. Almost. It began as a tremor beneath my pillow. Not a sound. A vibration. So faint I wondered if it were my own pulse echoing through bone. I pressed my fingers to my throat. No. My pulse was steady. Yet beneath my ear, there it was. A slow, measured beat. Not frantic like before. not terrified. Calm, patient. I laughed when I first noticed it. Of course I did. A memory, a remnant of nerves. The body remembers horror long after horror is done. But the next night, it came again, stronger. The mattress quivered with it. I lifted the pillow. Nothing. I knelt on the cold stone floor. The vibration followed, not from below, from within the walls. Thump, thump, thump. Slow, deliberate. It was not the old man's heartbeat, no. That one had been wild, desperate pounding of prey. This was different. This was steady, knowing. The doctor said I suffered from auditory persistence. They increased my dosage. Their smiles were gentle and false. Yet none of them would sit long in my cell. They claimed it was coincidence. I noticed the glances, the way the lantern outside my door flickered whenever the beat grew louder. By the third week, the rhythm changed. It moved. I swear it moved. Along the walls, across the ceiling, as though something unseen were pacing above me, waiting. One night, oh, I remember it perfectly. I pressed my ear to the stone. The surface was icy. The beats stopped. Utter silence. Relief flooded me so quickly I nearly wept. Then, from directly behind me, a single violent pound. I felt it against my spine. I screamed. The attendants rushed in. They heard nothing. But one of them, the youngest, paused near the wall. His expression faltered. "Did you feel that?" he whispered. The others hushed him. They removed him from my wing the next day. Transferred. Convenient. The heartbeat now fills the room each night. It does not race. It does not accuse. It waits. And I have begun to understand. The old man's heart did not betray me. No. It summoned something. Something that feeds not on flesh, but on awareness. On the moment a mind realizes it cannot escape itself. The rhythm grows louder when I try to deny it, quieter when I accept it. It is not beneath the floorboards. It is not within the walls. It is not even within my chest. It is beneath the world. It is waking. Last night, the entire building trembled with it. Thump, thump, thump. The other patients had began screaming in unison, though they claimed they heard nothing. The doctors sit calmly in their offices. They pace. They listen. And tonight the rhythm has stopped again. Complete silence. But I know what comes after silence. The next beat will not be small. The next beat will not belong to one man. It will be vast. And when it comes, everyone will hear it. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. In a quiet valley along the Hudson River lies a small Dutch settlement called Sleepy Hollow. The place feels different. Time moves slower there. The air is thick with mist and old stories. Strange dreams linger in the minds of its people, and superstition hangs over the land like a permanent fog. The most famous story in Sleepy Hollow is about a ghost. They say a soldier, a mercenary from the Revolutionary War, was struck by a cannonball during battle and lost his head. His body was buried in the churchyard, but ever since, the ghost rides at night, searching for his missing head. He is known as the Headless Horseman, and many claim to have seen him. Around the time of these tales lived a school teacher named Ichabod Crane. Ichabod was tall and thin, with long arms and legs that seemed barely attached to his body. His clothes hung loosely on him, and when he rode a horse, he looked more like a scarecrow blown in the wind than a man. But though he appeared awkward, Ichabod had ambition. He adored ghost stories, devoured them. The more terrifying, the better. He would sit for hours listening to old Dutch wives describe haunted bridges, wandering spirits, and of course, the Headless Horseman. And then he would walk home alone at night. Foolish man, but Ichabod had another interest, one far more earthly. Her name was Katrina Van Tessel. Katrina was the only daughter of a wealthy farmer. She was beautiful, lively, and known for her charm. Her father's farm was large and prosperous. Ichabod admired Katrina, but he admired her inheritance even more. He dreamed of owning those fields, those cattle, that warm farmhouse kitchen. But there was just one problem. Brom Bones. Brom was everything Ichabod was not. Strong, confident, broad-shouldered, a natural leader among the young men of the village. He rode horses with ease and laughed at danger. And he loved Katrina too. Brom did not like Ichabod. He mocked him, played tricks on him, frightened him whenever possible. But Ichabod persisted. One autumn evening, Katrina's father hosted a harvest party. It was lively and bright. Lanterns glowed warmly. Music filled the farmhouse. Food overflowed from the tables. The air smelled of cider and roasted meats. Ichabod danced eagerly with Katrina. But as the night wore on, the conversation turned dark. The men gathered near the fire and told the ghost stories, each tale more dreadful than the last. The Headless Horseman dominated the stories. They spoke of his head, how he raced like the wind. They spoke of how he vanished into flashes of fire. They spoke of how he must return to the churchyard before dawn, or be trapped forever. Ichabod listened, trembling with delight and fear. When the party finally ended, he mounted his borrowed horse and began the long ride home. The night was black. The trees twisted above him. Every sound seemed amplified. The rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig. He imagined shapes in every shadow. He tried singing to calm himself, but his voice felt thin and uncertain in the dark. Then he saw something. A tall figure ahead on horseback. It did not move. It simply stood in the road. Ichabod slowed. The rider seemed enormous, cloaked, silent. He could not see its face. They rode in uneasy silence for a time, the stranger never speaking. Then moonlight broke through the clouds, and Ichabod saw there was no head. The figure's shoulders were empty. Its head rested in its saddle. The Headless Horseman. Terror consumed him. Ichabod kicked his horse wildly and fled down the road. The horseman chased him. Faster, closer. Hoofbeats thundered behind him. Ichabod remembered the old story, that the ghost could not cross the bridge near the churchyard, if he could just reach it. He spurred his horse desperately. The bridge came into view. He crossed it. He turned. The Headless Horseman rose in his stirrups and hurled his head. It struck Ichabod squarely. Everything went black. The next morning, Ichabod Crane was gone. His horse was found grazing peacefully. His hat lay in the road. Beside it, a shattered pumpkin. Some believed the horseman had carried him away. Others suspected Brom Bones, who later married Katrina, and was known to laugh knowingly whenever the story was told. But on certain autumn nights, when the wind howls through the trees of Sleepy Hollow, riders claim they still see a dark figure racing along the road, searching, always searching.